Welcome to Miss Emily's Kitchen. I'm Miss Emily. Today we're here for Season 2, Episode 4. Today we're making one of my favorite winter recipes, but it's also great all year round. It's easy to freeze and it's easy to just eat fresh. It also feels kind of cozy inside, like a warm hug. It's potato soup. Now, this is one of the recipes that's going to be great for our first-time cooks. Unlike some of our other things like our sushi that we made earlier in the season, it's a little more complicated. But this one is really easy. It's ingredients that you find at your regular grocery store and you probably already have on hand. On a scale of 1 to 10 difficulty, this is like a 3. It's a great recipe to have in your arsenal and it's super, super easy to make. All right, potato soup, let's get into cooking. All right, now we're ready to start cooking. So we have a large soup pot here on our burner. It's turned up to about a medium heat. And then at the bottom of that, we're gonna add about 3 tablespoons worth of butter and let that start melting. And then to that, we're also gonna add 4 stalks of celery that I've chopped pretty fine. I don't know about you, but I really like having small pieces of celery in my soup as opposed to like a big chunk. Add the celery. And that's just gonna start cooking. You're gonna wanna let this cook for about 3 to 4 minutes until the celery starts getting a little translucent and cooked through. We're also gonna add our salt and pepper, just a couple shakes of each. At this point, you could also add in some onion or some carrots. Kind of just depends what vegetables you like to have in your soup. But I'm going super easy today, so it's just some celery. All right, now that our celery's been simmering for about 3 to 4 minutes and starting to get translucent, we're gonna add in about a tablespoon of garlic. I've just got a garlic paste. It's pretty easy, so I can just squeeze some in. All right, so that was about a tablespoon, so that's roughly about like 2 to 3 cloves of garlic. And now I'm gonna add in my potatoes. This is about 8 potatoes worth that I have already gone ahead, peeled and chopped. You can use russet potatoes for this. I use some red potatoes because that's what I had on hand. Also like a Yukon Gold would work as well. Doesn't really matter too much as long as you make sure you peel them first if you don't want skins. Skins are definitely an option if that's what you like. But I'd rather have it where I can puree my soup later so the skins would get in the way. So we'll just stir all that together. And then you're gonna wanna let this simmer for about another 3 to 4 minutes just to let the potatoes start to cook a little bit. And then we'll be right back. Now that our potatoes have been simmering for about 4 minutes, we're gonna add in our chicken broth. Instead of that though, I'm gonna use some soup base, which is just like a chicken bouillon powder. And then I'll add in 4 cups of water to go with it. So it's gonna be about 4 teaspoons of soup base for 4 cups of water. So a teaspoon per cup. I just like this because it's easier to have on hand if you don't have chicken broth with you all the time. You can just add this. 3 and 4. So really, we're just gonna wanna make sure we have enough to cover our potatoes. So I'll add in 4 cups of water. So this just wants to give them enough liquid so that they can start boiling. We turn our temperature up to about a medium high here. And then you're gonna wanna mix everything together. You want this to be at like a low simmer so you have some bubbles. And then we're gonna wanna put the cover on this and let this cook for about 10 to 15 minutes or until the potatoes are tender. Okay, so now our soup's been simmering for about 15 minutes and you can see it's starting to get kind of soft and translucent. You take a fork and poke your potato, it goes in without much resistance. So we're ready to move on to our next step. Now that our potatoes are nice and tender, we're gonna add some cream to make this a nice creamy potato soup. So I've got a cup of heavy cream, and I'm gonna add about a 1/4 cup of flour to it. You're gonna wanna make sure to mix this ahead of time so you don't have any lumps of flour. Otherwise, your soup will get kind of gross. If you wanted, you could make this like on the stovetop and heat it up a little bit, but I don't think it's super necessary. All right, let's make sure there's no lumps. And then we're gonna pour that into our soup. This is what's gonna thicken it and make it nice and creamy. And then we'll just stir that on in. Okay, now that our cream mixture has been added and we've stirred it together, we're gonna add in 3 bay leaves for some extra flavor. And let these simmer with your soup and let it thicken. You're gonna wanna have your temperature at about a medium. You don't want it too high so the cream will burn. But the bay leaves will just add a nice flavor, but make sure before you serve to take those out because you don't wanna eat them. They're not great to eat. All right, so now we're gonna put our lid back on and let this simmer and thicken for about another 10 minutes and we're all done. Now that our soup is finished thickening, we've plated it up nicely with some green onions on top and parsley for color. You can also top it with bacon bits and cheddar cheese if you like and make it a loaded potato soup. But this is great to serve anytime, and it's also great to freeze. You can also puree half the soup if you like and you want to make a thicker, creamier soup. I left mine more on the runny side because that's how I prefer to have it. All right, thanks so much for watching this episode of Miss Emily's Kitchen. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and share the video. Also, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page and hit that like button.